when it starts getting a little bit colder, the days start getting shorter, and all you really want is a big old bowl of comfort food. But then you're like, oh my gosh, well, it's cold and flu season, so I should probably eat some vegetables. Does anyone else have this issue? Yeah, I definitely do. Well, today I am making a dish that checks both of those boxes. This is my sheet pan broccolini and beans with polenta. I'm very excited. Listen, if you have not made polenta before, polenta is so good. It's a corn kind of pudding, which sounds kind of strange, but it's somewhere between like a mashed potato, kind of sort of pasty, but it's also corn, and it's delightful. Really, really quick to make too. So I'm gonna show you how to make my polenta. So I've got a pot here, and this has 4 cups of just boiling water in it. Now, if you wanted to, you could use boiling broth, just like one of those like Tetra Packs right in there would be perfect. But my favorite thing to throw into my shopping cart this time of year, this is kind of strange, but a little bit of powdered bouillon. Not bouillon cubes, not the liquidy stuff, but just the powder that kind of looks like this. Like it's a little bit dusty. This is packed full of flavor and seasoning. It's really, really easy if you want to make a quick soup because you can make a quick broth out of it. But I have another sneaky use for it a little later in the recipe as well. But since I've got 4 cups of water boiling there, typically when you're making bouillon out of this bouillon powder, you go in with about a teaspoon per cup of water. So I'm gonna go in with about 4 teaspoons of that. And just as quick as that, that turns that basically into a broth. Now you can go vegetable broth, you can do chicken, bouillon, whatever you're feeling. That is looking great. Immediately, it smells like soup, which is a delight. Now another shortcut I like to do is obviously add some garlic. Anytime I'm feeling maybe close to under the weather, my garlic consumption goes way up. Because for some reason I'm like, this is gonna help, right? I don't know, it might not, but it tastes delicious. So I'm just gonna mince a clove or 2 of garlic straight on into that boiling broth or water. This is gonna infuse it with flavor. That garlic is gonna cook off, that spiciness is gonna cook away in the heat of that liquid. Even if you chuck in a little nub, that's gonna cook up beautifully. So, oopsie. Watch out, we're getting spicy. All right, that's gonna cook off and be absolutely beautiful. Again, 1 to 2 cloves. And now I'm gonna add in my polenta. Now, polenta is just cornmeal. So you don't actually have to buy specific cornmeal for your polenta. You can buy any type that you have on hand or you find on the shelf or what's on sale. This is a coarse ground cornmeal. You can get the regular one too. I always have cornmeal on hand this time of year because it's super quick to throw together. So into those 4 cups of that boiling broth, I'm going in with 1 cup of that cornmeal. Just like a loose kind of cup. Now, while whisking, you want to add this in. If I were to dump this in all at once, it would clump and kind of turn into like a weird little hard corn dumpling. We don't want that. So while you're whisking, just add that slowly in. And almost as soon as it hits that liquid, it starts to thicken up. You can feel the like viscosity change. Now, turn that heat down to low, pop a lid on, and you wanna let that go for about 20 to 25 minutes. I say in the recipe to stir it every 5 minutes, but honestly, whenever you think, I wonder how the polenta's doing, give it a stir. And if you forget about it, it's gonna be fine. You're gonna get a little bit of polenta burnt onto the bottom, which comes off really easily, but the rest of it is gonna cook up beautifully. So that is looking great and doing its thing. So now I'm gonna get to work on the veg portion of this recipe. So I love broccolini. In fact, my coworker, Charlotte, who's standing right back there right now, she loves broccolini. It's her favorite vegetable. So this recipe is a little bit inspired by her. Also has never made polenta, so I'm really going for it, Charlotte. Now, I have got 2 bunches of broccolini here. Broccolini is like a tender broccoli. The stem almost kind of feels like a crispy asparagus, and then the top is obviously very broccoli. If you like things a little bit more bitter, you could do this with rapini, which again is a little bit more bitter. But I'm gonna add those, I've trimmed them up, and I'm gonna add them right onto a big sheet pan, because this is a nice sheet pan dinner where everything goes on there, you roast in the oven, and you're good to go. Now, for some more vegetableness and juiciness, I'm going in with just one of those regular clamshells of some cherry tomatoes. Whatever's on sale, if you got the mixed variety, go for it. I'm not even cutting those, I'm just going straight on, because those are gonna almost burst in the oven and give you nice juiciness. Now, I also wanna add on some onion. I love an onion all the time. I've got a red onion here that I'm just gonna cut into nice thin wedges. So get the root off, obviously peel it up, and then just cut it into, I'd say about maybe 8 wedges per side, something like that. So maybe 12-ish total, 12, 16. That's the math, there you go. Hopefully there's no teachers in the audience today. All right, yeah, no, are there? Oh no, I just did bad math in front of a teacher. This is my nightmare. I've literally had this nightmare. All right, I am gonna add on that beautiful onion right onto that pan. And then I'm also gonna add on 2 cloves of garlic. Now you can add them on whole. I'm gonna go straight on whole. You could also zest them and rasp them over, but those are gonna cook up nice and sweet and delicious. Now I do wanna add on a little bit of lemon zest. So I've got a lemon here. I don't want the juice yet. I'm gonna use the juice a little bit later in a kind of special way, but this zest is gonna roast up, get a little bit sweet, a little bit savory, and totally delicious. So just add that zest right on over. Beautiful. And then for a little bit of protein, I'm just going in with a can of drained and rinsed kidney beans. You could do chickpeas if you want, but I love a kidney bean. They're creamier, they still roast up and get a little bit crispy, but they're really, really good and super simple. So just add those right onto the pan as well. And then for additional protein and obviously some cheese, because I have to have cheese when I'm thinking comfort food, I'm going in with halloumi. Now I've got a block of halloumi here. If you've never had it, it's a really kind of young cheese, so it's squeaky, kind of almost like a cheese curd, but it's really salty, really squeaky, and it looks kind of like, do you remember those pants mod robes? Like, doesn't that look like a little pair of pants? So what a delight, what a fun thing. So I'm gonna throw those on. This is how my brain works. Think about what my food looks like. So I'm just gonna toss those onto the pan as well. Halloumi's really cool because it browns up, but it doesn't melt the same way normal cheese does. So it stays in its shape. It just gets golden brown, a little crispy, a little chewy, and totally delicious. Now that's looking great. I'm gonna season that with a little bit of some chili flakes. If you don't like chili, feel free to leave this out. Now we need to give a little bit of fat onto that tray. So for that, I'm just using olive oil. You want about 4 tablespoons of olive oil. If you don't have olive oil, vegetable oil, canola oil, even melted butter, butter does tend to burn a little bit, so you're gonna get a little bit more golden brown, but honestly not a bad thing. All right, now I'm gonna do something a little funny here. The first thing I'm gonna do is with this lemon that I zested, I'm just gonna cut that in half. And as opposed to adding the juice on now, I'm just gonna take that lemon and pop it cut side down onto my sheet pan. That's gonna roast that up. And if you have a stubborn lemon, as soon as you heat it, it gets so much juicier. That juice gets a little less sour, really nice and sweet. So that's gonna be amazing. And then to season this, obviously you could use some salt and pepper, but we got that bouillon. Remember that little powdered bouillon? This is salty, not gonna lie. So use this in place of your salt and it's gonna add additional flavor. So about a teaspoon of that just goes on. Maybe a little bit more, feeling it. I do this with roasted vegetables, throw some sausages on there, you're feeling good. Give that a toss together just to kind of evenly distribute everything and coat. And then this needs to go into a 425-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes, just about the same time as that polenta. Not my first rodeo, feeling good about this. So this is gonna roast up, get golden brown, give it a toss about halfway through, just to give it even color. Now I'm just chopping up some parsley. Anytime I am roasting things down or cooking them, honestly, really at all, I love adding fresh herbs into whatever I'm doing. So I've got parsley, obviously hanging out in my crisper, but if you've got like chives, if you've got tarragon, really anything that you like, feel free to add it in. So herbs are typically divided into like the fine herb and woody herb categories. Parsley, chives, tarragon, cilantro, those are fine herbs, the softer ones. But the woody ones are the ones that are kind of like pine tree-y, you know what I mean? Like rosemary and a thyme and things like that. Those are kind of the categories that you can work within, so feel free to do whatever you like. And I'm just chopping this up nice and fine. You can go a little chunky if you're feeling it. I've probably chopped up more than the recipe says. I think it says 2 tablespoons. This is more than that. But with herbs, you measure with your heart, in my personal opinion. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Again, we're just pals. You make the recipe your own. All right, that parsley looks great. My polenta has been cooking away for about 20 to 25 minutes, and I've given it a stir anytime I remember it. Did I remember it? Who's to say? Exactly. The audience just, they outed me. I did not remember it, but we're gonna take a gander anyway. Oh my gosh, that looks beautiful. Okay, so watch the consistency. It is creamy, it is puddingy. This looks absolutely delicious. I love polenta because right now, while it's hot straight off the stove, it's creamy, it's almost kind of risotto-y in texture. But if you were to want this a little bit firmer and to fry it up for crispy, just put it into like a greased cookie pan or a cake pan, pop it in the fridge, let it firm up, and then you can slice it and fry it, which is absolutely delicious. Really good for like canapes if you're feeling fancy too. Now I'm gonna add in that parsley. Again, measure with your heart, do as much or as little as you'd like. Give that a good stir. And then just for good measure, I'm going in with a couple tablespoons of butter because corn and butter, obviously best friends, match made in heaven. So just a couple tablespoons of that go in. Any type of butter you've got, if you've got salted, go in. If you've got unsalted, it just adds like a really nice creaminess to it. I mean, extra creaminess, it's already creamy. And then you just wanna give this a little bit of a season. Now I'm gonna go in with just a pinch of salt because we do have that salty kind of bouillon in there. A little bit of pepper in there as well, looking great. And then this is not in the recipe, so you watching and you in the audience will hear this first. I'm gonna throw in some cheese because I'm feeling extra cheesy today. So, it adds so much deliciousness. I just got like a hunk of Parm, if you have Pecorino, really any sort of firmer cheese you've got in your fridge, feel free to add that into your polenta. This gives you just another note of savory saltiness. And again, just like with the herbs, cheese with your heart. That's what we like to do here. I know that you think I'm joking, but I would keep going. This is like, what a delight. All right. Thank you. This cheese, yes. So give that a good stir in. You smell that Parm, it smells absolutely amazing. Oh my gosh, very excited about that. Okay, I'm gonna take this off the heat now and just pop it right over here. And I'm gonna go get those veg. Remember, we've got that beautiful broccolini, those tomatoes, that amazing little halloumi that's gonna get squeaky and golden brown. Oh my gosh, this looks perfect. It's nice and cooked down. Those tomatoes are juicy and jammy. Take a gander at that. Now, right here, this little guy, that's the halloumi. Like, it's golden brown, it keeps its shape, it's gonna be totally delicious. We've got all that green. Now, what I wanna do, remember how we roasted those lemons on there? These lemons are gonna be the juiciest lemons you've ever seen. So grab a pair of tongs, flip one of them over, and then just squeeze it over top. So that is gonna give you a really nice sweet kind of roasted lemon flavor. It's not gonna taste like sour in the same way, but it's gonna be really nice. Now I like to serve this dish up with something even creamier than the polenta. I'm gonna go in with some sour cream. You could also do yogurt. So what I'm gonna do is get a little bit of that beautiful lemon, pop it into my sour cream, just for fun, for a little bit extra flavor. The rest is gonna go right onto there. And then if you're feeling it, I love seasoning my sour cream, your sauces. Again, you could use Greek yogurt for this if you want a little bit more protein, a little more on the like healthier side, but I like to season it up just to make it a little bit different. So into that sour cream or that yogurt, I'm gonna go in with a pinch of salt in addition to that nice lemon juice. And then I'm gonna season that with some smoked paprika, would be absolutely amazing. So toss that in. Even like coriander would be really, really good. Cayenne would be amazing, gives you a little bit of color too. Give that a good whisk. Okay, I'm very excited about this. This honestly is what we call in our house the pile. So I'm gonna put the pile together. Okay, so I'm gonna use you. I'm gonna use you. I've got all my weapons. Let's do this thing. Okay, so for the polenta, since it's nice and creamy and beautiful, I'm just gonna pour it into what I call a plate bowl. You want those edges because he's really nice and kind of puddingy. So just pour that right on. Make a nice bed. Ooh, there was a butter chunk, okay. Amazing. Give you a little bit of a bed right in the center. There you go. Then we're gonna get some of those beautiful veg. So just pick up some of that beautiful broccolini, pop it right on into the center. Looking great. Then we've got that halloumi on there as well. We've got those tomatoes. We got the beans. We've got everything that I could wanna eat. And then obviously on top, you can't forget about that amazing seasoned sour cream that we can make. So just a nice little spoon right on the top. To me, this looks like a bowl made in heaven. I'm very excited about it. Maybe some of that nice parsley. Okay. Now it's my favorite part of the day. I'm gonna give this a taste. Okay, I'm going in for some polenta, a little bit of bean, a little bit of onion, a little bit of sour cream. Sitting on a couch, eating that. What an absolute delight. Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.